Greetings, everyone. I hope you are fine. I hope you are doing well. This video has a disclaimer, and I don't want to encourage you to watch this video if you are hypersensitive, because this video contains a heavy language.
Country is going through a reverse apartheid. Say what the fuck you want, all right? Back in the day, black people were beaten. Black people were killed, all right? What has changed? Today, white people are beaten. White people are killed. White people are discriminated against. What's the fucking difference? Please do tell me. Call me a racist if you want. But you come and live in this country, and you, a white individual, come live here and tell me that you aren't discriminated against and that you aren't blamed for things that happened in the past, even though I had no hand in it. Wow. And people say it was bad back in apartheid. Jesus.
There are situations or circumstances that should not be compared with apartheid. I'm not saying you should not make any comparison, but before making any comparison, you have to make sure that you have scrutinized that situation very well to compare it with apartheid, because apartheid is the worst Holocaust that has ever happened to African people, or South Africans to be specific. And again, is one of the Holocausts that ever happened to African people in general. So you should not easily compare any situation with apartheid. There are situations like Marikana. What happened in Marikana many years ago, that's the situation that can be compared to apartheid. Load shedding, whereby people die in hospitals because of load shedding, that's the situation that can be compared to a Holocaust. But don't just come and compare any situation with apartheid. So if there's any situation, you have to produce the evidence. You have to bring the evidence on a table. You should not just talk and say, this is what is happening, this is what is happening, but you have to produce the evidence. Mr. Member of Parliament, before you can compare your situation or your struggle with apartheid, you have to tell us that maybe in your neighborhood or in your community, there are people who have experienced capital punishment for exercising their rights. Has any situation like that ever happened in your neighborhood or amongst your people? So you have to produce the evidence that here are the people, or here is the list of people who died as a result of capital punishment under this democracy. You have to produce the evidence. And you have to tell us as well that, have you ever experienced a situation whereby you were prohibited from entering in any black neighborhood? It can be in Soweto, it can be in Tembisa, it can be in Sharpeville, it can be anywhere. Have you ever experienced a situation whereby you were prohibited to enter because of how you look, and you were chased away with dogs running after you? Has any situation like that ever happened to you? In other words, you have to produce the evidence. Then we will compare that particular struggle, that particular situation with the Holocaust called apartheid. Have you ever been compelled to produce your ID wherever you walk? Have you ever been compelled to produce your identity document wherever you are or wherever you go? It can be in church. It can be in your neighborhood. It can be maybe in a mall or everywhere. Have you ever experienced a situation whereby you are compelled to produce your identity document because of the way you look? Then you have to produce the evidence. Then if we have that particular evidence, then we can compare your struggle with apartheid. Mr. Member of Parliament, have you ever been compelled to study with the language that you don't understand, to study your subjects in school with the language that you don't understand? It can be Zulu, it can be Sotho, it can be Venda. Have you ever been through that particular situation, Mr. Member of Parliament? Can you stand and say, I was compelled or I studied all my subjects in Zulu or in Sotho or in Pedi? Then if you have that evidence, then we can compare your struggle with apartheid, because apartheid is the greatest Holocaust ever happened to South African people. Have you ever been addressed using a certain kind of an animal? Maybe you are in a certain place and they start calling you using a certain animal. Have you ever been in a situation whereby you were addressed with a K word? Then if you have receipts, then we can say, indeed, your struggle is comparable to that of apartheid. Apartheid was a Holocaust because people experienced capital punishment for fighting for freedom, for fighting for their land. Some people had to go to Robben Island for exercising their own rights. If you have ever been in that particular situation, yes, we can say indeed your struggle can be compared to apartheid. Sometimes even black people have this tendency of like, apartheid was better. You don't know what you are talking about. Apartheid cannot be compared with the community service delivery. Yes, community service delivery is important, but it cannot be compared to apartheid. So, Mr. Member of Parliament, have you ever been in a situation whereby there are two queues, the queue for black people and queue for white people? And the best queue favored black people. Have you ever been in that particular situation, Mr. Member of Parliament? Have you ever been in a situation whereby you are stripped naked in front of your wife, in front of your kids, in front of the community, in front of your neighbors? Have you ever experienced that, Mr. Member of Parliament? Show us the evidence. Then we can say this situation is indeed comparable with that of apartheid. Have you ever been in a situation whereby the police will just stop you for no reason because of how you look? Because you're not allowed to walk in certain places? Because those places don't belong to you, but instead they belong to certain people? Have you ever experienced that, Mr. Member of Parliament? Because right now, as we speak, you are enjoying free petrol, you are enjoying free parking, you are enjoying everything free. Right now, as we speak, you are enjoying free flights. You can fly wherever you want around South Africa. You are enjoying all those benefits. Can that situation be compared to that of apartheid? Can those benefits be compared to Robben Island? Including black people as well, because there are those who are like, apartheid was better. It's like when your friend betrays you, you start saying apartheid was better. It's like when you are dissatisfied with small things, you begin to say apartheid was better. I'm not saying people should not complain. Yes, you can complain. You can raise your voice because you have a right to do so. But don't start comparing things that are not comparable. I would appreciate if you can smash that subscribe button, smash that like button like never before.